Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Oh, welcome back. It's Monday. It's the start of another week, and it's a little bit discombobulated around here. And I won't question you if you're wondering what the heck you're looking at. Over the last weekend, I got a new printer, new 3D printer. This was something that I had ordered back in March, and has finally arrived. It was a one of those pre-sale deals, you know, almost like a Kickstarter type of thing. And I thought I would never get here, but it finally arrived. And what I wanted to do was to make up a exhaust vent for it. Now, the old printer had exhaust vents, one on the back, one on the side, which was kind of clumsy. This one has both of them on the back. So what I've done is I've made this box that I can use magnets to stick to the back of the printer, and then I can duct my exhaust out this way, ganging both of these up. This is a leftover piece from the old setup that I had, and it's not hurting anybody using it this way, so I figured why not save myself some time, energy, and money. And so basically what I've done is I've created a box, and here we go to the new printer, that I can basically attach like that to the back. And that will cover both of those exhaust fans while still letting me get to the power cord and the network jack right there. So it's not airtight, but it's good enough. It's not like we have to be, you know, surgically clean. We just have to vent the air, and there, of course, there is my old fan. This gets spun around until you can see the front of it, but. So I'm spending time doing this today because I've got this on my mind. I've got, I'm waiting for the UPS guy to get here with this week's project. And if that comes today or tomorrow, I still think we can get a good knock at getting it, maybe even getting it completed in 1 week. It's a pretty simple project. But the other big thing is happening out in the living room, and that is I am crating up my Valley Forge, not my Valley Forge, Dave's Valley Forge, so that Dave is finally coming to pick up the Valley Forge. And so I have got that. I've been working on the crate this last weekend and getting that ready to go. And a rare glimpse at the mess that is the living room right now. But here is the long crate, all the clamps that are holding down some paper or some cardboard reinforcing corners that are being glued down. But you can see the Valley Forge is in here. It is supported top and bottom. It is resting on foam. It is being compressed and held down by more foam. These little foam horseshoes here are holding it down and also holding it up. So hopefully that will be immobilizing. This is not something that has to go through the mail. It is not being picked up or transported by a FedEx or anything like that. Dave is coming to pick it up, so it will be riding back in his personal vehicle, I'm presuming. But I wanted to make sure that I could immobilize it and protect it during transport, while still letting Dave be able to see what it is he's bought. So I'm going to let these corner pieces, cardboard pieces, dry a little bit more. They're just being glued down to really act as bumpers and reinforcements. And I'm not going to do anything more with this until tomorrow, so that he can, because it's going to take the two of us, I think, to load it into whatever vehicle he's got. Personally, I hope it's something that's got all of the room. I cautioned him that he would need something that was 4 foot long by 1 foot tall by 15 inches wide. So hopefully he's made those sort of accommodations. Here you can see the back antenna is encapsulated in foam. The fuel cells are encapsulated in foam, and that very delicate bridge area has got plenty of airspace around it. Short-time viewers or long-time viewers of the channel will know I love to get things in the mail. I was one of those kids that sent away for everything. And what's better than getting something in the mail is getting something you never asked for in the mail. Getting a surprise in the mail. Unless, you know, it's anthrax or something. I love getting things in the mail. And over the weekend, I got this lovely box. Came completely unbidden. I didn't know what it was. Kind of suspicious. Shook it up. Made sure there was no small animals in there or anything. No suspicious powders. And, you know, I've been cautioned before about being more careful with putting my address on or filming things that have my address on it. So I am getting better at that. See, I've blacked out my address here. But it's not like my name is John Smith. If you look up my name, there's only two of us. Actually, there's only one of us, I hate to say. My dear old Uncle Lou, the man whom I was named after. He passed away a month or so ago at the ripe age of 102 and a half. 102 and a half. So that's my record to beat. He was a great old guy. Everything that I may not have said nice about my dad, I would say doubly nice things about my Uncle Lou. He was a sweet man. Anyway, there's only one of me around anymore, so if you look up that address, look up my name, your chances are going to find my address pretty easily. So there's only so much you can do about it. But anyway, getting back to this wonderful box, I couldn't figure out what it was because it was coming from a department of theater, from a professor in the theater department. I was going, well, what the heck is this all about? And I opened it up. I should have known something by the name on the box because Leviton is electronics name, lighting name. And what this box was full of, chock full of, are samples. These are gel samples from theatrical gel manufacturers. They're little sample swatch books. And what's great about these is you can cut these up. These are just at the right size. There's nothing printed on them. If I wanted to cut something like that up and put it behind or put an LED behind it and use it in a console or lighting anything, these are the perfect thing. Now, you're never going to have enough here to, you know, you're not going to light a nacelle with this. You're not going to light a whole 350 Enterprise nacelle with that. But there's some great things you can do with these little samples. I've got not only samples of the colors themselves, but there are some samples of some textures and some patterns. This one is more or less simply colored filters, but they're next to no thickness whatsoever. You could slide one of those in behind your clear panel just as easily as anything. And again, here we've got some diffusion, we've got some frosting, we've got this red with a diffusion. Oh, that's going to be fun. Blue with a diffusion. I haven't really taken too much time to go through all of the bounty that's in here, but there are other things like this particular one has some textures and some reflectives and some you can see it in the light, some metallics. Now these would all be great, and these aren't necessarily not exactly things I would put behind a console, but if you wanted to make a texture pattern or something on a room divider or something like that, all kinds of fun stuff you can do in here. Again, not a lot of, ooh, look at that. Nice. Nice. You're not going to, you know, wallpaper your house with them, but some really, some holographic foils. Those are always fun. But just a great little surprise out of nowhere for this weekend. So thank you, Professor. That's the last time when was the last time I said thank you, Professor? Some gold foils and some silver foils in here. Oh, more holographics. Ooh. And some more, oh, now that would be perfect to do Jessica Rabbit's dress in that. That's beautiful. Some more glitters. But thank you. Again, a gift out of nowhere is a gift doubly exciting. Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday. Tuesday on the week that is, and I have a special guest today. Special guest is David. David is here to pick up the Valley Forge. David, say a few words.
Well, Lou, this is unbelievable. It is gorgeous. Sorry it's only set here for 16 months. but with everything else, it was definitely worth the wait.
I did not pay him money to say that, but I'll certainly take the sentiment. So what we're going to do is try to fit this crate into that vehicle that you cannot see outside, and pass it down to Key West, Florida. Is that where it's going? All the way down at the lower tip of civilization. And so now we just, and frankly, once it's in the car, it's out of my hands. So whatever happens to Dave, I'm kind of interested to see how it goes myself. Well, that was a bunch of fun. Nice to meet Dave again, see him at Wonderfest every year, but he and his lovely wife stayed for a few hours. We geeked out and talked about everything. I don't get a lot of company here, so it was fun just to ramble on for a few hours. And the Valley Forge is off. It's going to a good home down in the Florida Keys. I wish it well. Mail has not, or the mail has come and gone, but what I'm expecting to get to work on this week still hasn't showed up. So I'm doing some thumb twiddling. But I think I will work on what a parting gift that Dave has left for me, and that is the world's tiniest Razor Crest. That's another one of these things where the picture on the box is much larger than the actual kit. I gotta say, this is either a symbol of how crafty the people at Bandai are, or how cheap they are, that they've put the instructions on the inside lid. Can't even be bothered to print instructions. Look how tiny this kit is. Look how wee. Look how small. I'll get it out of the box here. I was going to say this would make a nice one-day build, but I have to tell you, it would be you could probably put a stopwatch on it, how fast I could put this thing together. This is not a one-day build. This is a hour and a half build, or an hour build. Oh, man. No, I don't like this. You have the option of stickers, but no option for slide decals. All they have are the stickers. Stickers are for children. Don't like that. And the canopy is, if I could find it here. Yeah, I may have to just go ahead and paint that in. There it is. But I wish they had put actual decals in here. The stripes on the sides are going to be tough to, this is the stickers. So, well, what are we going to do? We're going to put this thing together, and then I'm going to paint it silver, and then I'm going to try to use some Molotovs on it. We're going to dress it up, but it is too small for me to worry about trying to light or to do anything like this. It's almost keychain size. It will whet my appetite for the 72 scale that round 2 is coming out with later in the year. Did I say this was 72 scale earlier on? No, this is, this can't be. This is, I think, 144 scale. La 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 la. Where does it say it? It doesn't say it. Doesn't say it anywhere what scale this is. Yeah, I don't see a scale on here. So I'm going to say it's probably 144 scale. Enough of that, let's get building. It shouldn't take long. Morning, welcome back. It's Wednesday, and hot dog, my ship has come in. I was actually in pretty much at loose ends. I was going to finish up that Razor Crest, and I probably still will this week. Have it on the background. But this is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for it to come in the post, and today it is. And that is the Comlock and stun gun set, the new release from round 2. Just as a general note, I have built these topics before, and if you scroll back through the videos, you might just find them. They were the resin kits, Wilco resin kits, I believe. This is the stun gun, and this was the Comlock that I had built before. These are solid resin, and you really can't do much with them other than, you know, appreciate the fact that they're solid resin. But I brought those out to show you that while they were garage kits, ostensibly, they were pretty damn accurate on the scale. This is the kit which, given round two's sticklerness for research, I'm going to presume is, accurate size-wise. That is, it's dead on size for the resin kit. So they may even have used the resin kits as a guide. Who knows? The stun gun is. Now, the Comlock is actually a little longer, and I was always dubious about the size of this, that the proportions on it didn't look quite right, and it turns out they weren't. This is the side-by-side on the two kits, the resin kit and then the round 2 kit, and you can see the dimensions are a little bit taller. This is again, I don't even have the end cap on it, so it's about a ½ inch longer than the resin kit. And what I like particularly about the new kit, other than the fact that it's hollow and you can do stuff with it, is that the angles of the corners are just sharper. This was cast as resin, and when you start sanding things, how you can knock the corners down on stuff, and the raised details aren't quite as sharp as they could be. For some reason, this one is still, after all these years, leaching resin. So good that I don't need to rely on this anymore. This is the new squarer. All of the angles are buffed up, and everything just generally looks that much sharper in detail. Designed to be used. I mean, it's these things are built to be modified, if that makes any sense. They're built to be changed. And I have every confidence that in the future, marvelous things are going to be designed on the garage kit market for adding functionality to these great kits. As you can see, it's designed to be a hollow thing. And again, kudos that they didn't put a big honking seam line through the middle of this. That it's intelligently engineered so that all of the seam lines are on the back. So you put the belt clip in like that, and anything that looks like it might be a seam is hidden on the back. They've also, and I've mentioned this before, so I'll clip it off here and show you the chromed bit of, and I'm still of two minds. I don't know whether I'm going to strip this and repaint it or simply accept the chrome as it is. But what they've done is, I do need to cut the pegs of this off. Wait a minute, let me double check, make sure I don't need those pegs for something. Okay, no, I don't. I was curious about it because I thought maybe this cap locked in or something, but it is designed so the cap goes on like that, but then this whole bottom piece slides out, so you can put a battery in there or access to your wiring or whatever. But this is designed to be modified, so that's a smart move on their part. There are, as I imagine, a lot of things you can do to this. I am only going to be adding sound to this. I will put a light. I will put a light in the screen, simple, and just a simple basic LED light in the screen. You've got choices on the decal sheet, what screen you'd like to use. I like the fact that they put the scan lines in here. That just shows some neat detail of the fact that these were black and white monitor screens. And what happened is that when you shot a monitor on video or a camera on film, if you're filming something and it has a monitor in it, if you don't use the right sync on the monitors, you get that scan line. You've seen it before. Every time they show a TV screen on a movie, you see that little screen, that little interference, and they've duplicated that on these decals, which I think is just a neat detail. So that is, I'll take probably one of these Moonbase Alpha logos and put it in the screen that goes here, and I'll just put a simple light behind that. This probably will not be the last one of these that I ever build. So, once the day comes when somebody's got a little working monitor to go in there, I'm sure I will be building another one just to do that thing. But for right now, I am going to be taking one of my sound cards and trying to make, I've got a sound card that's got 5 buttons on it. And this is the famous 9-button display. I always thought it was strange that there was no 0 on this. It's 1 to 9, but no 0. So you couldn't actually, well, any phone number that you used couldn't have a 0 in it. So you take this off. This piece slides in here, and those are your buttons. Well, I'm going to make these so that I can make 5 of these buttons operable, and those buttons are going to push 5, the 5 switches here that I can mount behind it. I've done this before in other kits. There is room for everything here. I can hopefully use this slide out panel to access the batteries when the time comes to change the batteries. It is programmable. I could swap out WAV files or MP3 files on this. So if I get bored with it, I can always swap out the files. But these will be the 5 switches that will go into there. There's room for all of this with a nice speaker. And I think I'll point the speaker upwards so it's pointing towards the screen. It's going to be a fun project. It's going to be a nice little interesting project that will take, a couple, 3 days. Hopefully I can, let's see, today's Wednesday. If I don't rush it, maybe I can get it all done this week. I'm not going to try to do anything with the stun gun, even though the stun gun is also, it's also geared for batteries. There is let me double check, make sure I'm not trimming off something there that I should not trim off. I will say just the bottom one. The bottom one I need to keep. Don't cut that off. There we go. See, I almost cut that whole thing off. The gun is also designed for a battery to go in it. Once you put it, see, I haven't cleaned up any of these parts yet. I am just looking at them for the first time here. But there you go. See, it's designed that you can take a battery in and out of that 9-volt battery probably. So you could put a simple push button here and maybe a lit up LED on the front. And maybe, yeah, I think there's room to do that, because what we're going to do, let me see, let me get one of these. I've got a chunk of these switches, which are just momentary switches, and that's what it's going to end up being. I can bury one of those in here so that when I press down, yeah, I think we can do that with a simple 9-volt battery and go to a single LED out of the top. Yeah, okay, we're gonna do that. I take back, because those are hollowed out and those are big enough for a 3 mil certainly bulb in there. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. So we're gonna have fun again. The last big build was the spinner, and that took place in the far-flung future of 2019. So we are going to go back in time from 2019 to 1999, marked down from 2001. I've worked out a very simple light switch for the stun gun. I mean, this is so simple. To not do it is tantamount to modeling malpractice in my book. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than this. You have a battery. You have a momentary switch right here. You have an LED. You press the momentary switch, the LED lights up. You have a stun gun. Now, yes, it's a single cool white LED. If you wanted to get really elaborate with it, you could have a color changing LED that's got 3 prongs in it that I believe changes from red to blue. You could then wire it up in such a way that you could hook it into the kill switch and the stun switch so that it would be different colors depending. I mean, there's a wide variety of things you can do. But this, my friends, is the simplest, most basic lighting plan. a battery, a momentary switch, and a light. Now all one must do at this point is to epoxy things down. This switch here has to be glued into place. Everything else is good. The battery, the reason there is extra line on here is so when you pull it out, there's plenty of room to have slack to change the battery. So this switch needs to be glued in place. I can go ahead and close up the two sides now, glue that switch down. These three will be dummy dummy barrels, for lack of a better term. Everything else is added to the top. The slider switch goes in the top. So yeah, we're ready to glue the two halves together. Okay, I'm back from running some errands, and everything's had a chance to cure. Now, here we go. We've got button at the top. We've got light in here. We're to the point now where I want to sand up this seam, get it nice and clean, and do all of the attaching of parts to the outside of this that I need to do so that I can prime the whole thing. We're to that point where we're ready to prime, but I want to add these little surface details. I'm halfway guessing whether or not I want to put the clear ones on, the ones that go over these colored buttons here, but I know I want to put these other ones on. So let's go ahead and get those cut out and glued down, and get parts like this that I can glue that on. But get everything ready. I'll mask off this silver piece, and if needs be, I'll come back and paint it with a Molotov to re-chrome that. But I want to keep it clean. I also want to put the dummy plug. There is a dummy plug for that slider switch area, which means if you don't want to use the sliders, either slider, either the first or the second season slider, you can put this insert in place over that. And I think I want to do that just for the time that this is being primed. I also want to leave the handle in place while it's being primed, because it is it's such a tight tolerance. The width of the 9-volt battery actually bulges out that handle a little bit, so I wanted to make sure I had reinforced all of these areas on the inside joint with the JB Weld putty, so that it would be good and solid. Also, that puttying those seams gives this gun a little bit more heft, gives it a little bit more oomph and gravitas. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in, just as I say, for the time being. Its only purpose is to block paint. So actually I need to trim one of the sides down, because this was one of the areas that I filled in with that putty. So let me clip that off. So let's go ahead and put that down. Now I can, I'm not going to put these round chrome attachments in, because I can plug those in at any point. Plus, I believe you're meant to not glue those anyway, so that you can swap between first and second season on these big round details. So all of that goes to the side, but I do need to trim these off and start adding them. Okay, I'm almost ready to prime the gun here. I decided to go ahead and glue these clear versions. I've got these details on, but I've decided to go ahead and glue these ones on too, because I'm not planning on lighting them, so I might as well paint them like the rest. They've got decals to go over them. I haven't decided whether I'll use those decals or whether I'll paint them. Usually if it's a nice obvious raised thing like this, then I'll go ahead and tape it off and paint it. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So no harm, no foul in going ahead and gluing those down now. All I'm doing is doing a quick pass with a file to make sure there's no burrs on the side, so they'll lay down nice and flat. A little bit of MEK in the recess. Pop that into place. You'll see the trigger is now on, and I've got some tape covering that chrome bit. But there you go. That's the workingness of it. Let me get these last bits in, and then we'll be ready to prime it. And luckily it's got this nifty handle on it that I can run a rod through to hold it up while it's being painted. Okay, so you can see I'm using the handy gripper hole here, the handy belt clip, to hang it upside down, and I've got the first coat of primer on that. What that's going to do is expose all of my joints and flaws in that big old seam that goes down the center of it. I'm expecting to have to do some puttying. You try to get it done as good as you can the first go round, but inevitably there is some touching up and patching that you have to do on a seam, especially that big. So I'm not going to cry any big tears if I see some seams that need to get patched up. Okay, we got the stun gun is drying, and I also went out and put a coat of primer on this little popsicle stick, and that is going to be drying. So then what I need to do now is switch over to the Comlock, and taking my cues from the stun gun, I am basically adding all of the details to the sides that I'm not going to be making operable, just so that I can get them, basically get the kit off of, get the parts off the table, get them built into here. Plus it will give me the exact estimate of how much space I've got in here. There's no sense trying to do a whole bunch of work with these buttons only to find out that you're running up smack against this thing, or you won't be able to get it in place afterwards. So go ahead and put those pieces in now, and then that will give me free reign to do all the rest of the work. So I'm going to pull out, I'm going to decide to leave this viewfinder removable so that you can swap out the different pictures like you are advised to do. I am going to put a simple light in there. I don't know how that's going to be powered yet. I haven't figured that much out. If I can gang it onto the board for the sounds, then I'll do that. I just need to see where the power might end up coming out of that. But yeah, let's take care of some small stuff. Like I said, the only ones I'm not going to attach are these chrome plated pieces. But all of these I can put in, and you know, I might have to put the chrome pieces in and then just make a circle mask to block them. That might be the easiest way to go, so that I can do the prime painting. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. It's the gateway to the weekend, and many things happening today. First thing you may or may not notice is the sound in the background. I have started the inaugural print on the new printer, and it is remarkably quiet. That is the exhaust fan that I just turned off. So if the printer's in the same place the old printer was, it's the same exact camera, but I would say the sound that it's making, or the noise that the fan is making, is about half of what it used to be. So that's a good thing. That's not going to be bothering us when we are trying to record anymore. And secondly, let's see, here is the stun gun. I've put a second coat of primer over it. Looking very nice, still lights up. That's going to get ready for its top coat of the silver metallic, or I haven't quite figured out exactly which color of silver I'm going to use on that. But now I'm working on the Comlock, and I got carried away last night even after I shut the camera off, as far as what kind of work I got done. First thing I did was to cut up all of the buttons, and and make this little panel here that has 5 buttons in it. Obviously I was going to use the buttons that came with the sound card, but these ones actually work better. I don't have to do as much superstructure to make those work, so I can just snip those off and reuse the wiring. I also loaded up the sound card with the sounds that I want to use, and to do that I actually had to dust off my old computer, because this thing only works in Windows 7 and Windows XP, and anything newer than that there's just no programming for. So if I'm going to do this in the future, I'm going to have to find a more modern version of it. But let's see if you can hear some of the sounds that I've put in here. Of course, the main one I want is the door opening sound.
Human decision
And of course this last one here is the one you really want, which is the door opening sound. So I've got the switches, I've got the sounds, I've got the replacement switches. The goal here is to, let's see, you take one of these buttons that I have cut apart, you fit it over the top, you fit this board into, now I've made some spacers on the sides. Oh, you can see the spacers on the sides here, those white pieces. That keeps the board up away from the right distance away from the front, so that when you do that and you push it in, then you've got a button here that will push, and these are the 5 buttons that will be functional for the 5 different sound effects. So I just need to finish putting that in and glue everything in place, and then I can start wiring up these switches. The next thing after that is putting in the actual board, the speaker. I've got some other things to do because I've got the board, the speaker, and whatever little light source I'm going to use to put behind the TV screen. We're going to use this much space up top for the speaker and the light. So I need to figure out the best way to power those or power the light. I think I can run it off of the same 3 batteries here. I just might need to put a separate switch on it, or it might be on all the time. I haven't figured that out. I was really more worried about the sounds than I was about that screen. So we're going to see. We're going to see, and then we'll know. I need to make up some masking material, obviously, for these buttons and for these round, like these round bits here, so that I can paint those or protect them either way. Big decal goes here, but yeah, there's, once I get the mechanics of this working, then I can worry about the cosmetic stuff. I'm ready to glue in the button interface, this guy here. It was giving me a lot of heartburn until I realized I was trying to make these things fit on top and still work, the little button tops, until I realized I didn't need them. The rest of it works fine without it. So that made life a lot easier, and now I am ready to simply attach the board to the standoffs and spacers that I've got in here. Now, where there could potentially be a problem is going to be in the painting of those buttons. I probably should have painted them first, but I didn't. So that's a road we're going to have to come to, or a bridge we're going to have to cross when we come to it. But that's going to keep all of the buttons in place, and I'm going to do a little bit of reinforcing from the top to keep that whole panel from popping out. But yeah, let's get that nice and secure. Okay, looking at the next steps on this, it seems as though I'm going to have to increase the length of the wire coming from the speaker. Speaker's going to end up going up into here. I don't know if that means sacrificing the light for the view screen completely or just diminishing it, but that's where that has to go, and it has to go at an angle because it is slightly too big to go in flat. If it could have gone in flat, life would have been so much easier, but it's just a scant bit too big, and I didn't want to. The only other obvious place to put it is like right here, but then you've got issues with having to drill a bunch of holes in here for the sound to come out, and it's just a lot more abusive isn't the right word. It's a lot more intrusive. I'd have to do a whole lot more alterations and making this thing look less than perfect to do it that way. What's nice about it is if I leave this back panel removable, I can still get in here to change the batteries, and right here is the port for changing the sounds, which when I fit this on top of it, I can still have plenty of access to. So all of those things are great. It's just the, let's see, if I flip the whole thing around this way, then I lose access to the programming. Yeah, and then these wires are in the way, and I've got to, those are the switch wires. It's going to be better off if I leave it this way. Okay, so let me get these guys glued in, or rewired in, and then I'll tell me how much slack I need. Let's see, if this goes in like this, and this plugs into here, and that's all of the switches plugged back in.
All factors memory banks inapplicable.
Then, see, I had that brought straight up. I could bend that back out to the side like it was before. So if that goes in like that, that tells me that I need about that much wiring. I can cut this much off of each one. Okay, so if I'm going to mark, I'm just going to put a clip on there to mark those, to mark that length. Yeah, okay. And then lengthen the speaker wires. Once this is cut, these are all soldered, then I can put another plate over top of it to protect those. But from this side, I have all of the push button ability that I could ever want in here. Alrighty, we've come to the next layer of success. I've got the switches all wired up. I've got to neaten this bundle up here. That's just pushing things around. But when you push on the buttons,
All factors memory banks inapplicable. Human decision required.
that's the computer sounds. I'm probably going to replace that one.
Insufficient data available under prevailing circumstances.
And then of course, there you go. So now what I need to do is situate that speaker in such a way that it's blocked in there good and tight, and then I can nail down this circuit board. And I think the first thing I need to do is take that out and realize that I need to bend that back down so that it's straight across. And then I can push all of these wires down this way. Probably should put a flat panel over top of these so that I have something to mount that new board to. Good morning, friends, and you are my friends. It is Friday. It's the last work day of the week, and I feel like I'll take you back. I don't know how old most of you are, but you'll remember on the old Ed Sullivan show. Oh, that just dated me. The old Ed Sullivan show, they always brought out the guy who was trying to balance like 5 plates and keep them all spinning at the same time. And just when he had it and he'd put his hands on his hip and he'd smile, somebody would put another plate out. That's how I feel like I'm doing today. Today is Friday, last work day of the week. I've just said that. And I've got like 5 projects going, and just as I'm getting one into good shape, someone is spinning another plate on me. We are continuing work on the Comlock and the stun gun. The stun gun, I have put a couple coats of a silver on it. That is kind of nice, but it's clouding up. So I don't know how I like that. I don't like it at all, so I'm going to have to find another silver. But I've taken some of the Tamiya putty and working some of that big central seam here on there. It's only one seam on this kit, but by gum it likes to show itself. So we're taking care of that. It'll gradually get there. Working on the tiny Razor Crest, and it's doing the same thing. It's maybe I can wipe some of this off. It's clouding over. I was using an automotive silver on this, and yeah, some of that's buffing off, but it needs its details painted. That'll happen. Yeah, I guess we're down to the bottom of the rattle cannon. Even though I shook it really well, we're just getting a lot of pigment coming out on that. So that's job 2. job 3 and the big job for today is getting the Comlock buttoned up, if nothing else. Even if we don't start to paint it, I want to get it buttoned up. Job 1 on that is this speaker grill. I want to cut this area out and make a new speaker grill. I want to replace this chrome plated part with an actual piece of screen, because that's where my sound is going to come out from, so it would help to be able to hear it. Now, I also want to make a plate for this, for the circuit board to sit up on, so that it's sitting in a nice angle like that. Just a little base to glue it down to. That also gives me access to the reprogramming port here. I want to cut this switch off, this power switch off, and rewire that down to here so that I can have something where I can slide this off and basically turn on the switch there. So that way I can keep the batteries from draining down when I'm not using it. Since this piece is meant to come off, why not take advantage of it and, you know, use it for all you can. And let's see, I'm thinking about this belt clip deal, and I think I want to paint this and put the belt clip in. I'm not wild about that paint clip being chrome, but what the heck. I don't know. I don't remember whether it was on the show or not. I'll leave it this way. It's not hurting anybody. But I want to paint this the moon beige color, and get so that I don't think I'm going to glue this in. I think I'm going to leave this removable, so that if I need to get in to change the batteries, it'll make it a lot easier to do that. So like I said, I'm mapping out. Plus I'm printing something right now, which the fact that you can barely hear the printer is delighting me. And I've just got done plotting an order. So yeah, it's frantic around here. It's a frantic Friday. So let's try to get things a little bit more calm around here, and take these things one at a time. And that's the only way to get through it. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay, here's the part of the project where I spend an hour and a half making masks for something because I am too lazy to spend 5 minutes with a piece of tape. So what I've done is I'm trying to create masks here for both the Comlock and the stun gun. And what I'd like to do is do a lot of the details that were black on the stun gun. I'm going to make those black vinyl, and primarily because if this is going to get handled a lot, then chances are the decals would get rubbed off or otherwise abused. And if particularly since these guys are in your palm of your hand, if you can paint those, they're just going to last longer, I think. So what I've done is I've tried to create masks for these standardized sizes, which are these guys, so that I can mask that off. Now see, this is where I'm trying to determine whether my measuring was up to snuff or not. And I think I was a little small. I think I was a tiny bit small on my first go round. So yeah, I can bump those up. I need to check the height and the width, obviously. It looks like the height is okay, but I need to make them a little bit longer. Yeah, they're a tight fit. I need to make them a little looser than that. Okay, so that's for these four here that are all that same size. That's for these four and for the colored buttons here. And I'm going to look to see whether I've got these colors in vinyl or not. If not, then, you know, painting is painting. But if I could, you know, that's not bad. Maybe just like 101%. Bump that up like 1%. I think that would do. Okay. Let me see what else we've got here. Now those, I've got some circles that I have cut masks for, and I need to, let's see, those are the 1/2 inch. These are the 1/2-inch ones for these guys, and yeah, they're a little big. Those are a little big. Okay. But I need to cut circle masks for the insides of these as well, because those will be easier just to put in as black vinyl. Okay, well, round 2. No pun intended, since this is a round 2 model. Okay, work continues in refining these masks. I was trying to do this as one big shape, and I was just trying to out clever myself, so it's better to do that just with strips, because especially if you're cutting your buttons apart, you may not know the exact distance between those, so it's better to just do it with strips. This is a set thing, so that I can make that one mask. These are the little black shapes that are decals on the sheet that I'm going to make as black add-ons, because most of the stuff that is done to the stun gun is going to be black add-ons. This stripe here, this L shape that goes here, the circled inside of the raised button there. The tops of these, I'm looking at the painted sample here on the back, and you can see that only the face of these shapes is black, whereas the sides are all the same silver as the body. Well, it helps if, let me see if I can get this in camera a little bit better. You can see here how the sides of these shapes are silver, and just the face of it is black. So if I put black vinyl over those, that's going to solve that problem. We still need to paint the handle black, and we paint this hook here black, and we paint the trigger black. But the rest of it can be handled with black vinyl. And since we're going to do that black vinyl, we can do the circle and the square here in black vinyl, and do these little stripes here in black vinyl. And then the rest of the detail will be painted on. So like I say, we're very close to getting everything refined. I only have a couple of shapes that I need to go one more round on. The size of this circle is still eluding me. I make it too small one time, and the next time I make it too big. I have to find a place in the middle there. See, that's the exact size, but it doesn't account for the outline of the piece. So I need to make it just a hair smaller than that. And this one is actually smaller than it looks. It needs to go on and be even a little bit smaller than that. So I think we're close. I think the next thing I want to do is a version in black, so that I can see how the black details are going to look in the actual color. Okay, here we go. This is the stun gun with the black vinyl attached to it. Not too shabby. I like this. It doesn't mar up the whatever silver you're going to use, because you put a decal on that. Then you got to spray over top of the decals, and that's going to ruin your silver finish. So by putting these black bits of vinyl down, you could even just let it go at this point. Now there's black here that needs to be painted, and obviously the handles need to be painted, but you can mask those off and spray a finish on those. This trigger needs to be painted. I need to clean up this joint. This is all work that needs to be done on into next week. I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to... I have to look to see whether I've got the colored vinyl here. Obviously I've got the yellow, and I've got the red, and I've got a green. I just need to see whether I've got the right color of green and the right color of blue for these. If not, they might have to be slightly off color. But that's going to finish up the templating for the stun gun. The Comlock is, well, I've got all of the masking done for the Comlock. I've got the black bits that would be attached to the Comlock, would be like the C, which was just a big old Letraset C there, and these are all, these little circles and squares were all Letraset transfer type. for you youngsters who might not have been aware of what letraset was. Now, where do these double circles go? These double circles go up here, so I can put one there. This is a very fine line. This is not something I would like to plot every day, but look at that. And then the other one goes right there. And then this is used to paint these. I don't know why, I may have said this before, why these were done in clear, why these were provided in clear. There's no indication that those were ever lit that I could see. So, yeah, there you go. We're almost ready to put this aside and prime it. Now, I need to check these last two. This thing keeps coming unglued, so I know why, because it's chrome plated, and it needs to have the chrome cleaned off of it, or at least sanded off of it, so that it will stick a little better. The glue will stick to it a little bit better. Alright, well, that means I've got all of the templates marked out or measured off as I need, so I can strip this thing back down and get ready to paint a primer coat on it. Okay, the Comlock has had its first coat of primer on it, and while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and strip the black vinyl off of here now that I know this works, and put a coat of primer over it to cover the putty that I had been visiting upon it earlier today. Get this cleaned up. And this is where we're going to leave this much of the kit this week. I'm calling this the light and sound build. Usually I put lights and sounds in a model, but in this case I've got lights in this model and sounds in this model, and that's where she's going to lay. We will get on with the painting of these next week, but right now they are resting under a very nice coat of primer. And of course we've got the little Razor Crest on a stick that is drying over here. And that's going to do it for this week. A rather disjointed week, kind of a catch-all for a bunch of different things. I'm glad I got as far as I did on the Comlock and the stun gun. If I had them on Monday, I would definitely have been done by now. But it's going at a nice pace. Like I'm saying, it's the sound and light edition. It's just not all in the same kit. Not to recap what we've already done this week, but it seems like this week has been like 3 weeks old or 3 weeks long. I can't believe Monday was only 4 days ago or 5 days ago, and it seems like it was forever. So till next week, we'll be finishing these guys up, finishing up the little Razor Crest on a stick. We'll be finishing this up next week as well, and then we'll be on to something else. I don't know exactly what. This will probably be one of those deals where I finish in the middle of the week and send it up again, you know, as is getting my way. But we're getting into fall now, deep into fall. We're in, mid-November at this point, so weather's getting cold. Got to start thinking about my long winter's projects. Might be time for a time machine. Who knows? So until next week, when we'll all figure this out together. That's a lie. I'll figure it out and tell you. You have absolutely no input on this. Until next week, you be good. You be good to each other. You be safe. You be smart. You be all that stuff. I'm giving you a bunch of homework. You be back next week. See you then.